Being weird creates polarity, which means other people form opinions about you. And if they're forming opinions about you, it means they're thinking about you, or at least that you're not invisible to them. And here's the interesting thing. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. Whether people say, ew, you're weird, or they get excited, wow, you're so weird, that's cool. It doesn't actually matter. The point is, you want to create that polarity because when people think and form opinions about you, it means you're now somebody. You stand out in your own way. And if some of you are sitting there thinking, well, I'm kind of weird, or I've been told I'm weird my whole life, and you're kind of thinking about it from a negative perspective, like people don't like me because I'm weird, well, that couldn't be further from the truth. At the very least, those people calling you weird know that you exist. And the funny thing that happens here is those weird kids in school, so when you're growing up and you're the weird kid in class, you actually end up being the cool person, the fun person. When you grow up, everybody wants to hang around you because you're the weird kid, because you're the fun kid, because everything is so damn average. It's so mediocre. You see, as people, we're naturally trying to fit in. You see, it's interesting because we don't want to be like everybody else, but yet we look to fit in. And the better you fit into society and to everyone else around you, well, guess what? The better you are at hiding and being invisible. That's what it boils down to. And I'll share from my own experience. Even to this day, I think I do some weird things. I've always been told that I'm pretty weird and how I do things, especially going through school, but I was always able to put a somewhat of a positive spin on it, which means that got me actually more friends. Not that I was popular or anything, definitely the popular kids and those kind of people, they never even looked my way. They just thought I was the weird kid. But everybody else would have something to say. Take for instance when I'm at work and I used to bring these big bowls of food, of some kind of grain. And because I'm in the gym, I'm working out, and I need to put on weight. And I'm somebody who just burns through calories so quickly, and some days I just go without eating because I forget to eat. And so I would bring these huge bowls of some kind of rice or buckwheat or really any grain that's mixed with some meats and whatever. But the point is, this isn't your normal container. This is just a massive ass bowl. This is like almost like a bucket. And the thing is, in my world, this is completely normal. I want to gain weight. I need to eat more calories. And preparing a million boxes to put your meals in is super annoying. It takes so much time. So I just thought, whatever, I'll just dump it all into one thing and I'll just eat out of it. And that's exactly what I did. Whenever it was lunchtime, I would pull out from my bag this huge bowl, put it on the table, and I wouldn't even heat up the food because it doesn't fit in the microwave. Nor did I care about heating it up. I didn't really care what the taste was. So as I would start eating it and just digging in with my spoon one after another, people would kind of look over and be like, what the hell is this guy doing? What's wrong with you? Who eats like that? And personally, I never actually took these comments as negative, even though they were said in a negative way. I just kind of thought, oh yeah, I gotta get my gains in, so I'm eating. And every single lunchtime, people kept on making comments about me. And then they would ask, so like, do you eat this whole thing in one sitting? I'm like, well, maybe half. Sometimes I'll break it up into 3 or 4 different instances of eating. And people would just kind of scratch their head like, what? Who does that? Seriously. And then they would ask me, do you even heat up your food? I've never seen you heat it up. And I said, well, it doesn't matter because, well, either it's not going to fit in the microwave or it's going to be just a little bit cold or room temperature. I don't really care because I'm not eating for flavor. I'm eating for purpose. Some of you guys have probably heard that, eating for purpose, not for flavor. And so it didn't really matter to me. And that was such a foreign concept to people. They're like, what do you mean? You don't like what you eat? And I say, not particularly. It's neither bad nor good. It just is. And I would just carry on eating it every single day, and people would still make those weird stares. And over time, I became the guy that eats out of a bowl. It almost became like an office meme. And guess what? Whenever we had new people coming in, maybe they would hire a bunch of new recruits. They would already tell the new people, oh, watch this guy. You got to see this guy when it's lunchtime. He's crazy. He's an absolute animal. Just look at him. Right? And I would hear people say that. And I'm not trying to stroke my own horn here. I'm not trying to glaze myself. This isn't anything really to be proud of either. But all I'm saying is that I just kind of thought, I went from being that weird guy who eats out of a bowl and doesn't heat his food up and doesn't eat for taste to other people saying, oh, you gotta meet that guy. Oh, look at him. Just sit next to him at lunch. You'll see what he does. It's the weirdest thing ever. And there would often be more. People would slide me some of their food and they're like, you want to try this? I'm like, of course. I would just eat and mow down everything that I saw. And then it became another meme that this guy eats everything. And that's true. I'm not a picky eater. I'll eat anything that's basically organic and your body can break down. And so over time, you start to create that persona. And you go from being the weird kid to you got to meet this kid or you got to meet this guy. And you now want to hang out with him. Maybe you even want to learn from him because clearly something's working. People are like, so you like go to the gym and then you eat all day? I'm like, exactly. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, well, it's working. And then they want to find out, how do you do it? And suddenly these people become interested in your life. They're like, wait, so what do you eat when you wake up? Some oatmeal, or I'll have some eggs. And how many eggs? Oh, I'll have 6 eggs. Like, what, 6 eggs? Who eats 6 eggs? I don't know. I just eat it because I need the protein. It makes sense in my mind. It makes sense in a person who lifts in their mind. It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think I'm doing anything weird. In my world, this is completely normal. But to others, they start getting interested. And before you know it, they start asking you questions about other topics. They're just now interested in you as a person because you're so different, because you're weird. And guess what? Those same people that call you weird because they do what's normal, they're invisible. They might ask you a question or two. They might be interested in your life, but guess what? Nobody necessarily wants to come up and talk to them. Maybe they have a couple of friends, sure, but for the most part, if you are just like everybody else because you're trying to fit in and not stand out in a weird way, well, you'll get exactly that. You'll be exactly like everybody else. And if you're someone who's weird and maybe people are making negative comments towards you that almost sound like insults, it's just a matter of how you handle them. It's how you react in your own mind to those kind of comments. If people are hating or liking, then guess what? You're doing something right. You're standing out in your own way. Embrace it. If you're that weird kid who has a huge Pokemon card collection, I personally don't, but I definitely know some people like that. Fuck yeah. Then you're that guy. Don't hide it. Don't hide it just to try to fit in. Because not only are you gonna stand out as a weird person and not be like everybody else, but you're also gonna attract similar kinds of people to you. Because a lot of people are afraid to actually say what they're into. And they're afraid if they're gonna say it out loud, people are gonna judge them for it. But then there's always that one person who steps out and just doesn't care and he says, yeah, I have Pokemon cards. Yes, I watch anime. And then afterwards, a couple people come up to you and start asking, oh, you watch anime too? Oh, which one do you like? And you're just thinking to yourself, what? I never knew all these people are into what I'm into. They're all just hiding it. So now you just made a bunch more friends or something you can relate to with another person because you weren't afraid of, showing it publicly. And the anime example is so real actually, because just like a lot of us, especially maybe going through high school, if you're somebody who watches anime, you're weird. You're into cartoons, Japanese cartoons, who watches that? And outside of my friend group, nobody else really knew. Maybe, me and my friends, my brothers would watch some anime and that's it. But as soon as I realized that it's all bullshit, I'm just gonna say it as it is. I have nothing to be ashamed of. There were so many more people that opened up and said, wow, I didn't know that about you. That's actually so cool. And very often, if you say it first, if you say the thing that you think another person is hiding, they're also gonna come out and say it. And no, I'm not necessarily talking about what the modern term of coming out means. Not at all. I'm saying just things you do that others might not be aware of because you think it's just kind of a weird thing to do or to say. And turns out half the world is doing the same thing and you're all just hiding it from each other because society tells you that it's not okay to do this. And who is society anyway? It's who we decided to be, isn't it? If a large group of the population are participating or doing certain things that the society thinks are weird, well, now the society is like the minority, meaning you get to decide that this now is the new norm because there are so many other people doing it. So just to leave this off with you guys, if you're weird, embrace it, embrace the fuck out of it. And if you're on the younger side, just wait. When you grow up, at least in your 20s, you'll be that cool guy that everybody wants to hang around with because your life is so interesting, because you're apparently weird. And they want to hang out with you because their own lives are very monotonous and very, very standard. So keep it up, boys.